think this is just an Ohio thing. This might just be a Midwest thing. Or not Midwest. What am I saying? Literally the opposite, Northeast. I feel like I've definitely heard people call Ohio the Midwest before, which makes absolutely zero sense at all. It's on the east side. But either way, it's been very foggy every freaking morning. Because what happened was we had a foot and a half of snow about 2 weeks ago or something, and then now morning temperature 33 degrees. I guess it just makes sense. It's getting freaking warm and everything is still just wet and muddy, so I feel like I'm going off into the mist every morning. I head to the gym as though I'm gonna have to you know what happens at the end of the movie. I'm not going to spoil it. But plan for this morning, lift-wise, it's going to be chest. And this is the first time that I've taken a legit rest day. No cardio, no anything. But not for the purpose of just recovering from being kind of sick. 2 or 3 weeks ago or so, I took a rest day. No cardio, no lift. But it wasn't because I felt like I needed a rest day. It was more so my stomach was churning. I was having just feeling gross. I would equate it to food poisoning in terms of intensity, but it wasn't food poisoning. Maybe I just ate something weird. Maybe I caught some kind of stomach thing. I don't know. It was just a one day, and then I was good the following morning. But I knew when I woke up, kind of halfway through the night, I'm not feeling awesome. But, that was kind of an extenuating circumstance. But yesterday I could tell, and partially because of probably how much cardio I'm doing, but also my seated bike at home, the seat is not very plush. I think I need to fold up some towels or something and kind of wrap them around the seat. Just so it doesn't make my butt so sore from sitting there and pedaling for an hour. But I could kind of feel my legs were getting some fatigue accrual, and I'm not one to shy away from being a little bit sore or tender, but in this dieting context, especially getting ready for the show, I can kind of tell if I start overdoing it, really my legs are going to tell me to back off, because I want to be at a sweet spot equilibrium of doing enough cardio and enough training and not eating so much food that I'm still getting leaner, but I'm not overdoing it and under recovering, because if I came in to do too much cardio, trained, too heavy with too much volume, and then I didn't give myself enough food to recover, well, I'm just going to kind of gradually get more and more sore over time, and it's just going to kind of halt my progress. And maybe not only that, but also totally kill my enjoyment of the process. I want to be able to keep going and be excited about the next day. Not that that's the only factor that matters, but it's like any routine. The routine that's going to be most effective for you is the one that you can keep doing consistently with enthusiasm. So just keep that in mind, right? But I guess the gist is I'm trying not to get too burnt out. But that's more of in a physical sense. Mentally, I think I'm very well, let's just say, adapted to not having to deal with mental burnout in the gym. When guys say they'll say they fall out of love with it, or they say they kind of lost the passion for training. Fuck. I mean, I hope I never feel that. I haven't yet, and I definitely don't freaking intend to, But yeah, so in terms of this chest day, not too heavy, not too crazy, but I want to be as pumped as possible. So how am I going to do that? Well, probably some cable work, probably maybe a little bit of pec deck. But even the pec deck has kind of been putting some extra pressure on my elbows, and not my outer elbow, where your tricep ties in, but the pit of my elbow that kind of actually does a curling action. So really the cables are probably going to be where I kind of hang out the most. Maybe a little bit of machine chest press. We'll just kind of have to see. I'll have a better idea of exactly how I want to go about it once I get started and once I sort of loosen up my rotator cuffs and get my back warm and my arms and everything kind of moving. Because then that'll give me my sort of cue of like, okay, what's going to feel good today? If I feel super good, then maybe I'd want to do Smith machine bench, right? Maybe, but probably not. I'm leaning towards more squeezing, burning movements at this point, rather than something like a heavy press, which is essentially just the opposite side of the spectrum, you know? Like in a regular off-season, I'm trying to gain size kind of phase, I want my sets to look like an even bell curve between lighter squeezing burning work and heavier high tension brutish work, you know, and then kind of a good mix in between where most of my volume is going to be in the middle. Moderate weight, 15 reps failure or so. But for every set of 20 that you're squeezing and burning, I think if you counter that with, maybe a set of excuse me, maybe a set of 10 to 8 of legit actual heavy failure, I mean, it's just going to make sure your training doesn't get too repetitive and you'll actually kind of be changing it up, so take with that what you will. But dieting, that heavy high tension side of things for me, not so much on the table. I don't need to try to do 4 plates on incline Smith right now, nor should I. That's gonna, we're gonna see a freaking headline. Sam Sulek rips both pecs off 2 weeks out from the Arnold. Oh my god, that'd be the stupidest freaking thing ever. But yeah, I think nothing else to say, so I'm gonna go ahead and hope nobody, freaking gets distracted driving in the fog, and let's go get this workout started. All right, so I'm feeling strong, but I don't want to abuse that feeling, because then if I go too heavy, I might tweak something, and then I'll just be a total fool. So instead, let's just do 120-pound bent over hand pressing, just a squeezing based movement. I call this the equivalent of like a rope extension to start. Like lightish weight, I still feel it, but I'm really squeezing and flexing at the bottom on every rep. All right. Yeah. Okay. Whew. Okay, 2 more of those, I think. Two. Yo. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, 1 more. And then we'll move on to something else. All right. Okay. Okay. Let's do some pec deck now. I think that'll be good next. All right. This will be good. So a little more squeezing focused than like brutish and heavy. But let me actually, yeah, go back one more notch. This will be perfect. One more of those, and then back to the cable. Okay. Let's go do a single arm cable press and then decide how to go forward. So this will just be alternating left and right arm. A little, I don't know. I don't really want to call this a decline press because even though I am pressing downward, not like, you know, across my body, it's more of like a side press, you know. Like I'd say decline is when somehow you're pressing down this direction. So a lot of lower pec, which we'll talk about during the pose down, but there is a specific like insertion of your chest or doing lower pec based movements is going to help develop it. But here is a little more like just kind of a full chest movement. It's because even though I'm pressing down, I'm kind of leaning into it and pressing across. So it almost is a little more like this than it is like this. But just as a lightish squeezing set, yeah man, these are sweet. So let's just get them started. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. Let's finish with a double arm press, and that'll be all, I guess, all he pumped, not all she wrote. Let's do one more, and then we'll see how we're looking. All right. Very potentially my last set, so I want to make it my freaking best one as well. All right, come on. Okay. Ah. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Let's pose down. There we freaking go. So, I don't know if you think it translated, but that was a pretty dang solid pump for me. I guess we'll actually get to see the visual change, but not that insane of a lift. You know, I mean, what am I doing? Cable press, some pec deck. The pec deck was heavy, but not like crazy heavy. And then finish with some more cable work at the end. I mean, I even repeated the same movement twice. To some, they may see that as sacrilege. Like, oh, you already did the movement for a few sets. You've gotten the benefit from it. Why would you go back? And I'm not so picky about movements in general in that sense. What I think is a little more important is kind of like the movement theme. You know, like if I'm in the mood for a steak, if it ends like if the restaurant only had like a leaner fillet or like a T-bone or whatever, I'm basically getting that itch. I'm getting the steak feel. You know, if I'm in the mood for freaking spaghetti, if this particular place has like their own special spaghetti, but it's basically spaghetti, that's going to do it for me. You know, so I'm more concerned with, okay, I don't come into the gym thinking, all right, I want to do incline converging press, or I want to do incline dumbbell Smith, or incline Smith bench. I'm more so coming in thinking, okay, I want to do a heavy incline press, or I want to do a squeezing converging press, or a fly. And then once I've got it in my mind that I want to do that style of movement, I'll be able to pick through what movement specifically I want to fill that need with, you know. So if I want to start with a cable press or a converging squeezing press, cable works fine. If I want to come back to a squeezing press, cable works fine too, you know. Or I could have switched that with a plate press, but the ones that I have are a bit more like hefty. They're not so light squeezing, like really converging. That's one space where there could be a little bit of an upgrade to Sam Central. But now let's just see how we're looking here. So, yeah, like barely even really flexing the midsection. I feel like I'm just looking freaking dry, you know, like not show ready, stage dry. But if I was standing next to myself on the amateur stage right now, how I am, it'd be a pretty drastic size comparison, or size difference, let's say. So what I'm really liking right here is the fact that I can see this left chest vein, just subtle, like not totally in your face like the bicep ones, but I'm not even flexing, like not even hitting a side chest or whatever. It's just sitting there, what's the word, looming over kind of my mid pecs. And then even just leaning forward a little bit, making it more obvious in the light, but chest fibers are making themselves apparent, and I'm not even flexing. Like my chest is completely relaxed, but I can still see some insertions here, like where my, like this is basically, I mean, I was going to say something, now I can't even think about it. Let's just run through some posing shots first before we discuss any further. Ooh. That's definitely up there as one of my craziest, just like old school most muscular so far. That's for freaking sure. Oh my goodness. So, yeah, man. I think the pump has spoken for its freaking self. So I don't want to delay my cardio, because the sooner it's done, the sooner it's done. So how about we continue this recap in the car after an hour on the treadmill has been completed. Yeah, there we go. That cardio session felt much, I don't want to just say better, but I felt like I actually had a touch more energy today than the first cardio session I did 2 days ago. So before the rest day, when I came into the gym and I did an hour on the treadmill, it felt like it. It really felt like a freaking hour. What I try to do, like my method of trying to ease the difficulty of the cardio, is just distract myself. Watch a show, scroll around on my phone, read through different like threads or whatever, and really more so watch a show. Like I'm trying not to watch regular short form social media anymore, or at least try my damnedest not to. It's just so I've known this for a long time, that my screen time is atrocious, but I think it's just, that's my goal. That's one of my non-lifting related goals right now, is just to try to cut down on my scrolling screen time. I don't mind if my screen time's a little high. I gotta be on my phone at least a bit. But the more that it can not be like just 10-second shorts scrolling, the better. So whether it's watching like some kind of long form YouTube video, or just like whatever, that kind of lets the time pass. Or just spamming some freaking Don Toliver to Clash Royale. That got me through probably a good 25-30 minutes of cardio today. I've got a little bit of a rotation, between that and then different fucking just YouTube videos and stuff. And before you know it, boom, the hour is over. But I kind of split it up today. I did 30 minutes on the treadmill first, and then 30 minutes on the seated bike. I think that's kind of a good combo for me. Sometimes I'll do the full hour on the bike, or I'll do the full hour on the treadmill. Really either or. One problem I'm running into with the treadmill, though, is my legs are going to rub up against each other as I'm walking, and it's chafing me. So if I know I'm going to do the treadmill, I ordered them. They should be at the house now, but like extra long, like boxer briefs, so that my legs don't have like skin to skin up against each other. Because on the bike, there is no chafing. Your legs are kind of separated as you're pedaling. But that's one issue with when your legs get at least decently big. They're gonna, you're gonna have to kind of pick your clothing selection a little bit more carefully for your treadmill-based cardio. I'm sure it's probably the same for the Stairmaster, but I don't have any Stairmaster experience. I've never done it. Personally, I think the bike and the treadmill, more than enough cardio for me. So yeah, that puts me at 18 days out or so. With the rest day, I don't know if today's 18 or if today's 17. I'll do the math and like count it up to make sure I'm where I want it to be. But yeah, plan now is go home, and I have got a big bowl of cooked ground beef waiting for me to kind of scoop out a portion of. So I'm probably going to do at least 8 ounces of that, maybe 10. Have a little bit more of a protein heavy meal. Crack in some rice cakes, some sugar-free barbecue sauce, maybe some, and then maybe a little something extra on the side. I will have to see, but I don't really have a lot more room in my meals than that. The main protein, a carb, and then a little bit of sauce to kind of spice it up. Anything else would probably add a little bit too much, I want these meals to be all just about 500 calories each. If I can have a meal that's about 500 and it keeps me full for a couple hours, that's about the criteria I need. Because then, if I have another one, 500 calories or so, another, 2 or 3 hours later, it just kind of puts me in a good position of like, I'm full enough that I don't come back to the kitchen like fiending for something. If I had no food until like 4 o'clock today, now it's 10:30, then odds are I'm probably going to want to freaking scarf down I don't even know how much food, and it's not something where the longer you wait, the easier it is, because it's almost like this inverse effect. Because if I wait twice as long to eat a meal, odds are I'm probably going to want to eat a meal that's more than twice the size of my standard ones, because now I'm extra freaking hungry, And you can kind of catch yourself in this like overcompensating approach when you're putting food together, because when you're really hungry, you're thinking, okay, I gotta get a big plate, I gotta get a big bowl, I gotta get a bunch of rice cake. And then, well, maybe it's 3 o'clock, you were aiming for 2,500 calories for the day. Well, now 3 o'clock, you've already had 2,000. You got your work cut out for you for the rest of the night if you want to make 500 calories stretch and go to bed without going over your calorie deficit. So it's I like this idea. It's your calories per hour. So if you're going to be awake eating for like a 12-hour period, let's say you have your first meal at like 9 o'clock, you have your last one at 9 o'clock p.m., something along those lines, and you're eating 2,400 calories, well, you shouldn't be eating more than 200 calories per hour, of the proper allocation of like carbs and proteins and fats for your specific diet. So if it's been 2 hours, it's 11 o'clock, and you've already had 500 calories, you're in the red. You've been eating a little bit too much too quick. So now you might want to wait a minute, maybe by noon, then have kind of another smaller meal so that you can keep that pace on track, because it's not easy to go to bed hungry. That is definitely something I'm not catching myself doing, or I don't want to put myself in a position to have to do. If I can go to bed and eat a big meal and feel like I've got a full stomach and still be in my deficit, well, that's freaking perfect for me. But yeah, plan now, go get some food in my system, and then I'll freaking see you tomorrow.